is a member of the MiceChat Podcast Network. MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other bugger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hello, yes. Thank you. Welcome back to The Mouse's Head. We're here again. Another show, another episode of Dis After Dark. And we always start with, I'm Paul.
I'm Nick.
And I'm the other Paul.
And that noise you don't hear in the background, that's not Craig. He's driving a train tonight. So, bottoms up and all that lot. But joining us back, we have a previous guest back on the show again. Russell, how you doing?
Great, guys. Glad to be here.
Hey, Russell.
Hey.
Always good to have someone who actually knows something about Disney.
Oh,
yeah, just to balance the show out.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're thinking, no, it's not Russell Brand, nor Russell Grant.
No. You're going to finish that, or are you just going to leave
I was
it
hoping Russell's going to jump in then.
It's Russell Crowe.
It's Russell Crowe, fighting around the world.
No.
Calling you from my latest movie.
Pirates of the Caribbean 7. He's taking over from Johnny Depp.
That's what I like to hear.
It's a good rumour.
Well, this is because I had to explain to my wife today that
Um,
you found the new catchphrase, even if you have stolen it from someone else.
That's
someone
actually the
else
second
years
time
ago.
today. That's the second time today I've heard you say that. My wife. I was catching up on the episode I missed today. I missed a lot of naughty words.
I was going to say, I don't remember saying that earlier, but there's every chance. But no, I said to her that we were having a guest on the show that we've had on before who was an author, and then said, but no, not that author.
Unless, of course, Russell wants to read some pages from his book in a sexy voice.
Yeah.
Or are you saying author or Arthur? I could pretend I'm drunk and do comedic stand-up.
Speaking of which, good segue, Russell. It's like a pro on the show.
Wow.
Gentlemen, what are we drinking?
Well, I've gone for a non-Disney theme. Now, today in England, it's been...
I can't do that now.
breaking news. It's the first time I've been really current. Yeah. We're going to have a lot of that. Yeah. So, I've not gone for a Disney thing, as is tradition, but I have gone for the most English possible beer I could find. I've gone a bottle, and this is recommended by my brother and sister-in-law. So Chris and Jess, hello, they won't be listening. And this is a bottle of Island Hopper Pale Ale that is especially brewed for Marks and Spencer's. Hang on. Oh, hang on.
You found a bottle opener.
Now, also, just for American listeners,
it goes to the edge of the Wedgwood table.
We don't have twisty cap bottles on our beer. We have ones you have to prise off. That's the only type we have. And I couldn't find the bottle open just as we were starting the show. So the fact that I found a very tiny one and it's worked has made me feel rather tremendous. So, chin chin.
Oh, Mr. D.
I've got a World Showcase connection. That's my Disney connection. Yeah. So I've actually got a double helping here. I got some French wine, red French wine, and I've got a cup of English breakfast tea at the same time because there was a bit of a conflict in terms of drink scheduling, and ended up with a cup of tea as I was drinking my red wine.
Well, the two are actually next to each other. So as long as there is a small bridge in your garden and an exit to a boardwalk, you'll be fine. Sweet. Russell, beverage of choice for today.
So, as we've discussed before, I don't actually drink. I'm usually the designated driver. So I had to really think about this one. And in honor of the 60th anniversary of Disneyland, what most people don't realize is that when Disneyland first opened, not only were they sponsored by Coke, but they were also sponsored by Pepsi. So today I'm having a Sierra Mist in their honor.
Wow, I did not know that.
No.
Yes.
Now, Russell, you realise that since you're the designated driver and you've got to take us home, it's going to take you a long time to get home tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a long drive.
And Nick always wants to stop at the Kentucky Fried Chicken for a takeaway.
Jesus, how do we all know this? God, I'm like one of Russell's books. Easily read. Eh?
Oh, nicely done. Well, my Epcot connection also comes from the England Pavilion. I've got a can of Strongbow. And although you could also say it's actually arguing because it's a cider made with apples like cider should be.
Oh yeah, like as is cider. Yeah, none of this Seedler, other cider crap that made with other fruits.
Fruity berry cider,
which, by the way, are still very nice. Should any of you want to sponsor the show, and if you do want to sponsor the show, there are various ways to get in touch with us. The first way is to visit our website at www.DisAfterDark.com, or you can email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
I see 6 minutes in, we're only on item 4 of the show notes.
Show notes?
And we're also on Twitter, so you can find us on Twitter at DisAfterDark, Facebook.com/DisAfterDark, and we're also on MiceChat. And I've just realised I'm actually, with this wine and tea, I'm actually able to give myself a hangover and cure it at the same time. This is genius.
We've had many good ideas tonight.
Good start. We're also on Instagram, Pinterest, and stuff like that. And yes, I have got show notes in front of me just to remind me what I'm supposed to be saying. And I've got a big screen saying, get closer to the microphone, so my audio's better. But it says, episode, Season 2, Episode 10, with Bart Scott, author of Ears of Steel. Date, Sunday the 2nd of February. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't update my show notes other than just to tell me what I should be saying and where we should be at any given time.
It's been a long time since you spoke to Bart.
Yeah.
Just so you know, my show notes are Series 2, Episode 7 with Michael Moody, Sunday the 15th of December. Doesn't say what year it was.
I'm guessing both of those must be 2013.
Something along those
lines. Yeah. I wonder how many. Somebody asked me the other day, actually, what episode we were on now, and I said season 3 something. Because the thing is, I've actually lost track now because of the seasons thing.
I know
where we are.
That wasn't kind of deliberate. It was just the fact that we all went on holiday, so we had a break. Oh, and then another podcast said they were having a break, so we took the mickey and also had a break.
Not that we do that regularly.
Do that deliberately or anything like that.
Try and make jokes out of podcasts.
No.
That works well.
Although the best joke for tonight's podcast is we can all sit here actually properly in the mouse's head and we can all have an E. I've been brewing that one all day.
Oh, dear.
We'll get to that bit in a minute. But in the meantime, Russell, cheers.
Yes. Cheers.
I couldn't think of a better question other than, so why are you here? That's the limit of my interviewing skills.
Oh, they've come a long way then.
Tell us about your latest project, Russell.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. Yeah,
that's what I meant to say.
Well, my latest completed project was the release of my new book, More Seen Unseen Disneyland, on July 17th, 2015. So I was actually at the park on that day and celebrated the release of my new book. Now, the next day wasn't so fun because I actually wanged my head on one of the attractions and had to have the nurse come and take a look at it. But the day the book came out was pretty good.
Which attraction?
We'll get back to the book in a minute. Yes, head injuries are always interesting to our listeners.
And wanged as well, because to be honest, just to clarify this, more for our UK listeners, I suppose, when we use the term wang, it's normally in reference to a body part. So I'm hoping that you didn't get wanged in the head, if I'm honest.
No, it's nothing like that.
And in fact, I may have to include a photograph in the show notes that someone sent me the other day of a late 70s Chinese prog rock band called the Long Wang Project.
Oh.
I know Wang Chung.
Possibly.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so Wang Chung must have had all sorts of double entendres for you guys.
Yeah. Anyway, other than... I was about to say whacking your wang. Other than wanging your head, on which ride? Or which attraction?
A very, very dangerous and high-risk attraction known as Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Well, to be fair, it does have the word wild in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. They fair and square warned me.
Yeah, please keep your arms, legs, and head standing up at some point, or just are you actually like about 18 foot tall?
Well, what actually happened was a guest had an issue, and they had to emergency stop the ride at the loading point. So they had to, of course, escort all of us out. And so when the cast member came and got me, released me from the vehicle, we were walking out, and I wasn't paying attention, and there was a low overhang of part of the theming, and just caught me right above my forehead and the hairline. So, bang!
Nice.
That could have been nasty. I mean, you could have croaked it there.
Russell, please don't take this the wrong way, but does that mean you actually got hurt by something that you unsaw?
I did.
Something you hadn't seen. Unseen,
it was unseen to me and smacked me square in the head.
No, at least we know there's going to be a third volume of your book, even if it's going to be very short.
I should have got a picture of it now that I think about it, but I was a little distracted. So, but no, Disney was great. They sent the nurse out. She took a quick look, and everything was fine. And sent me on my way.
Laughed for a bit.
Yeah.
Well,
security standing there pointing at me, laughing. No, they didn't. They were actually very, very nice.
That's good though. I mean, touch wood, but nothing to do with wangs. But I don't think any of us here have had a major kind of incident on a ride. I think we've probably all been stuck on rides and whatnot, but no one's actually been hurt on a ride. So none of us have experienced what you did. So it's good to know that if we were in that situation, that to be looked after, really.
Yeah, and I felt really bad because they had me stand in the exit of the queue, which of course then that meant they couldn't restart up the ride until the nurse finished. So I was like, let's hurry up so these people can get going on their rides.
Cool. So, okay, the new book. How much more unseen Disneyland is there?
There's actually even more than the both books cover because I actually still have more material, but this book is actually 1.5 times the original book in size, thickness, I should say. They're both still 6x9, but this one's 1.5 times the thickness. It was really, there was just so much material, I ended up having to just stop myself because this thing could be 4 times as thick. I mean, the Disney Imagineers are just so imaginative. I guess no more Sierra Mist for me. Anyway, they're so great at adding all of these details and stuff that you could just go on forever and keep finding these more and more details. So I was really fortunate in this one to get a lot of help from people, and I like I said, I had to eventually just stop so I could get a book out.
So Russell, now appreciate you have banged your head recently, so you may not be all there sometimes, but if this book is 1.5 times as big as the first book, please tell me you are charging 1.5 times more for this book than you were the first one.
No, that actually was a little issue when I started looking at the printers. It was going to be quite expensive more initially, and so I had to shop around to find a printer. And it is more. The original book was $19.95, and this one's $21.95 to help defray some of that additional cost. But it's not wildly more expensive. It was looking like it was going to have to be like $24.95 initially, and I times are tough for everyone right now, so I didn't want to increase the price that much. So I really shopped around. I'm really happy with the new printer. The pictures really pop with this new printer. They're very good with the old one, but I'm really happy with this one because I did some additional work with the pictures, and it looks great. I'm extremely happy with it.
Did you take the photographs yourself, Russell, or?
All of the photographs are mine again, except for the picture of me, obviously. Someone else took that for me.
You could have taken a selfie.
I could have.
Well, not now, but
not
on a
now.
stick.
Well, I could do the old, because they are allowing tripods. I could have, put the tripod and had the remote trigger or something. But no, I just asked a friend to take a picture. I happened to be walking up Main Street one morning, and it was like one of the only times I've ever seen the former Wizard of Braz porch empty. So I jumped up there real quick and had someone take a picture of me.
Wow. That's quite surprising, actually, as well, because... And I'm pretty sure this has been confirmed, but in Disneyland Paris, they've also had the banning of the selfie stick. But in Paris, they've actually extended it to tripods as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Now, see, when I first started taking pictures, they did not allow us to bring tripods in. They actually made me take one back to my car at the time. So I was surprised a couple years ago when I started seeing them around the park.
So I'm going to have to research that. I'm out there in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going out to Paris for a couple of days in a couple of weeks' time. And the last thing I read is that tripods were still allowed, and so were monopods.
Oh,
but that's because you have to extend them and then set them and lock them in place. Whereas with the extendable ones, you just extend them.
I'm kind of surprised on the monopod because in theory you could just use that as a selfie stick.
I intend to, just to really irritate people.
To be honest, if any of us show up in Disneyland Paris with the way that we react to people, sometimes I think just our presence there will annoy them. I don't think you have to worry about selfie sticks.
I won't be wearing any badges.
So I got to ask you guys, have you ever had a problem with someone with a selfie stick?
Well, I have a problem with people that insist on having them, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Not narcissistics.
Yeah. If you mean, have I had a problem with being hit by one or anything like that? No. I have, however, had people back into me, walk into me, because they're too busy using a selfie stick, but I've not actually been attacked by one.
So you're actually the first person I've asked that question to that's actually had some sort of incident with them. The big problem out here in California was people were apparently, from what I understand, losing them on rides or attractions. And it was causing them to have to shut down the attraction. And, like if you lose it on the Matterhorn, that thing's down for, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour to get it cycled back up. So those are big hits when someone loses something like that.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk about that, that's not actually in the park. The last time, I hadn't really noticed it much until my last trip, which was about 10 months ago or so, I think. Was when we last went to Disneyland Paris, and there was a lot of people using them, but because they're so out there and annoying, they're quite easy to see. So it was quite easy to walk around people if you needed to. To be honest, I've got a much bigger problem with iPads.
Yeah.
During parades and stuff like that. I mean, the picture quality is not great anyway. They just get in the way of everything. They just spoil everyone's view. I don't pay to watch a parade through an iPod, an iPad, or an iPhone, or any kind of device that doesn't even begin with I.
No, or the fact that you can pay however many dollars it is for those glow-with-the-show ears. Or if you've taken your iPhone and iPad, you just hold it up and use it to video the actual fireworks, and they repeat the colours as you go back through the crowd.
Yeah, there was a lot of comments about the 60th anniversary presentation on Friday at 10 in the morning, that everyone got all their positions. Everyone was like, okay, I got a good place to see. And then, the presentation started and all the cell phones and all the iPads went up and no one could see anything.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst thing, when we were there in August, we noticed how many people had selfie sticks and iPads and phones. And during Wishes, we tried to watch Wishes from the hub, and it was just it was like a sea of phones, a sea of screens between you and the castle, which didn't really matter until somebody used a selfie kid right in front of us. They put their kid up on their shoulders, and then we definitely couldn't see through that.
A selfie kid, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I do. I'm equally guilty of putting my kids on, well, at least one of them. It's quite hard work to have both of them up. But I do put one of my kids on my shoulders to watch parades and fireworks. But we try not to do it from the front, because that would just be stupid.
Yeah, I used to do that with my daughter when she was pretty small, and then once she started getting a little bigger, I would just hold her so her head was essentially the same height as mine. But trying to be conscious of that. But yeah, when she was like 3, 4, she was up on the shoulders, but she wasn't that big, so it didn't add that much height.
And a couple of years ago, for just to be a complete dick, a couple of years ago for Star Wars weekends, we didn't get to the parade early enough, so we were quite a long way back. So I did have a small HD DV camera on the top of a monopod being held above my head like a massive selfie stick. It was a full-length monopod of about 6 foot, and I was holding it up. But I had
doable.
I had the viewfinder closed, so it wasn't annoying everyone with a bright light. But the same thing.
Yeah, I'll do that too when I'm photographing an attraction or something. I'll turn the viewfinder either off or on the camera my big camera. I can actually flip it around so it doesn't show.
Because it's all right having no flash on Pirates of the Caribbean, and people can actually stick to that occasionally. But when they're using their phones, it's as bad as using a flash, because the phone's actually brighter.
Oh yeah,
than the scene
and
they're photographing. Yeah.
So what's the solution, guys? The only way I can possibly see a solution, because the thing is, the reason why people film these things is because they're holiday memories and for that kind of experience.
And a fully high-functioning, top-of-the-range GoPro on a selfie stick is still cheaper than paying for all your photographs in the course of the holiday.
But, what do we think? Do we think that Disney should film each performance? They should have, a professional setup to record a performance, and therefore you can have access to that?
That's an interesting thought, as discussions go. We might have to come to that one at some point. Interesting thought, but... Yeah, with your Magic Band, you were there on this day, but a lot of selfie sticks are there to film yourself. Whatever happened to the good old art of handing your camera to a friend or to a stranger and having a little bit of Disney magic saying, "Can you take my photograph, please?"
Speaking of fantastic art, I've just seen on our Facebook page that you posted the Long Fat Wayne Experience, their album cover, and that is a wicker chair. I don't think there's anyone going to be denying there's a wicker chair there. It will still be on our Facebook page after this show goes out, so it's fine. It will make sense.
You couldn't. Whatever happened to the good old days of giving someone a camera? Or is it the fact that people are so used to pointing their iPhones and pressing the little red thing on the screen that actually handing them anything slightly more complicated than that just goes, what? I don't know what to do. The lens points that way. So I don't know.
And there might be some trust issues too now.
Yeah.
Yeah, people steal more.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It tends to be a bigger problem than it used to be, or certainly more noted than it used to be.
Well, yeah, it used to be a case of you could just steal a camera, but now if you hand someone your iPhone, and chances are it's got the camera on it, and you've probably unlocked it. So while I'm there, I'm just going to frape you.
There's another thing as well, and this is commonplace. I realise we're going completely off topic, but when you look now at cameras, I think we all remember the days when we used to have film.
Yep.
So on a film, you could take up to about 30 pictures.
36, 38 if you got lucky and wound it quite tightly.
Yeah, 36 was about your average. And the thing is, you never knew what those pictures were going to come out like until you developed the film. Buying the film was expensive. Developing the film was expensive. If you went on holiday with 4 rolls of film, you had to make those count. Now we live in a digital world, which is brilliant for lots of reasons, but at the same time, it means what we can do is take thousands of pictures in the same time that we would have taken less than 100.
Oh, I dread to think how much. Because, yeah, the occasional Facebook and forum posts of, I've just come back from my 3 weeks in Florida and we took over 2,000 pictures.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You pointed the camera at something 2,000 times. I wouldn't call any of them pictures.
And also, as well, how often, if I've taken, and I'm guilty of this as much as anyone else, how many times have you taken photos at wishes, dreams, illuminations, whatever it is, and when you've taken your 30, 40 pictures, one of them looks good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But see, and like when I do my work, I do that intentionally, where I'll take, I might go on a trip and take 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 pictures.
Absolutely.
Just hoping that some of them come out, because a lot of pictures are very difficult to get. Like the Haunted Mansion, for instance. So I might try each go through. I'll try different settings and hoping that something eventually will work, because with the ride or the ride vehicles moving, they're twisting. The ghosts themselves are moving, so it gets to be difficult. So
absolutely.
On the other side of the coin, it's with the old system, you like you said, you take a couple pictures and you just hope they come out. Now you can just keep trying and just keep popping, and unlike other people who post them all, I obviously don't do that. I take all the ones that are garbage and I put them into a different location where they don't get seen. Don't want to embarrass myself too much, but.
Absolutely. I mean, pictures for publishing, you've got to be a lot more careful than the 2,000 photographs brought back by a holiday maker. Which, great, have your memories, enjoy your memories, but really, exactly how many shots of the golf ball from around the lake do you actually need to bring back a memory of, that's Epcot?
True. And the other thing is if you do take a picture and it's just a little bit bad, things like Photoshop, you bring that picture right back. At least good enough for home use.
Yeah, definitely. And then I take a video camera as well. So, I wander around like some sort of news reporter.
You take your GoPro and staple it to your forehead and walk everywhere?
There's a GoPro attached to a really sad chest harness, which may as well say I look like a rapist. Or the headband one. I've got one. I have to wear it on some rides, but I know full well that I look a complete idiot wearing it.
One on the head, one on the arse.
Yep.
Now, Russell, going back to your book, what would you say? I mean, I know it's probably quite hard, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. What would you say is your highlight of this second book?
There's, it's like the old joke. They're all my kids, but there's I'm very proud of the overall product. I had more time with this one. I actually, I don't know if you've had him on your show. Have you guys had Jeff Heimbuck on your show? Kind of a cute story author.
No, we haven't.
Raleigh Crump.
No, have we even asked, or does he keep just turning us down? I can't remember.
I think he said something about quality control.
That's it. Yeah.
Not finding us funny. No,
that's not Jeff. Sure. That's someone else. Anyway, you guys should have Jeff on. But anyway, he did Kind of a Cute Story, and he did the new Windows on Main Street book. I was really fortunate enough to get him to agree to be my proofreader. So I got a twofer with him. Not only a good writer, but also someone who really knows the subject matter. So we could collaborate a little bit on that. And so I took that a step further this time. And there's just I'm really proud of it. But one of the chapters, if I had to really focus, that I really enjoyed doing, I actually learned a lot myself, is the very first chapter on the Disneyland Railroad, where I got to talk with several people, read several books. A couple of the guys, like Michael Campbell from Walt's Barn, spent some time answering some email questions and stuff. And so that chapter right there, with the material that's in there, I just really found fascinating. It was really fun to do. There was a lot of good stuff that you see, like the book says, you see it all the time, but you don't realize what it is. Like when you stop at the stations up near the engines, there's these little numbers, and I had noticed those for years, and I was like, what are those? And then I started checking into it and found out they were guide numbers for the various engines to let them know where they need to stop so that everything in the back lines up with the station, such as, the people who need additional assistance getting on and off the train. Those ramps have to line up. Well, how do they do that? They don't just roll the dice. They need a guide for that.
It's those kind of things you don't really think about either. That's what makes them so interesting. And obviously that's what makes the book so good, is the fact that it's those things that you've not paid attention to, you've seen, but you don't know what it means. And there's the Indiana Jones of unlocking these mysteries.
Well, and then as you're going around on the track, there's numbers ever so often, and if you just see them, you think, oh, well, it's just, theming or something like that. Those are actually functional numbers that tell them what section they're in, so when they're communicating, they know, they can reference those, and they know where they're each talking about. So it's just all those little things that you see and just fascinate me.
We should have a train driver on to talk about this.
If only we knew one.
Because I'm sure there are all manner of markings and things on rail lines.
Michael Campbell from the Walt's Barn, he did the exhibit at the Walt Disney Family Museum, and he's fascinating to talk to. He'd be another good one for you to have on. You'd really enjoy him.
I think we found our replacement Craig from when he's on holiday.
Yeah.
You don't have a job, Craig, but you're going to need some relief when you're not here.
Yeah, we'll get a book. Fantastic. So, go on. If you were to have a rough estimate, how many more books do you think you've got left in Disneyland before we see a seen, unseen Walt Disney World?
Well, actually, my plan right now, I originally wasn't going to do a second book, but I got such a massive amount of feedback saying we want more Disneyland. And I had some material left over that I did that. The book I'm actually working on now, not full steam yet, because obviously I'm working on the promotion of this book, but as I build up steam is Disney California Adventure. So that one will hopefully be out in a year or two, and the Magic Kingdom will be next, as long as they keep selling. So the fourth book should be on the first book of Walt Disney World. The difference for that one will be, obviously I'm here on the West Coast. I have more access. We go more often to Disneyland. When I do Walt Disney World, I'm going to really have to do a lot of prep work before I ever go, because I'm only going to get one or two shots at getting all of the pictures there. So I'm really going to have to work at that. Like we were discussing earlier, where you're trying to get pictures. Most of the time now, I just take my pictures and then go home and go through them. When I go to Disney World, I'm actually going to have to, in the evenings, download those pictures, confirm that they came out, and if they didn't, go back and take them again. So there's going to have to be a lot more discipline, shall we say, on those trips to really get what I need.
That reminds me of journalists. When I've been to, I've not done it for a while, but I used to go up to Leicester Square every now and again if there was like a big movie premiere. And what you'd get is you'd get the journalists there, or the freelance photographers there, taking all the photos of the stars walking the red carpet. And then once everyone was inside the cinema, they would be running off to the nearest pub, restaurant, wherever, where they could get an internet connection, and sitting there sending the photos over and checking them, making sure that they were all good before the papers went to press that night. So it sounds like a similar kind of methodology there.
Yeah, the press, a lot of times they're trying to get it into their publisher, for the next day's news. People think, well, tomorrow's paper is printed tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's paper is actually, almost done now for most news agencies, and they'll be printing them overnight. So that if something's happening right now that they want in the paper, they got to get it in right away.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, if you ever decide...
Well, of course, I'm talking about California. It's real late over there, so...
Oh, no, it's still happening here as well. But, if you ever decide to venture over to our local park, I know of 3 elder gentlemen that are also Disney nerds.
I thought you were about to use the word statesman.
I was definitely not if I'm discussing us, definitely not mentioning statesmen.
We're a bit of a state, let's be honest.
Oh, in that case, yes.
Which state would that be? Insanity?
Drunken.
Dishevelment, yeah.
It's normally how you find us.
And I definitely would like to eventually do, like Paris and Hong Kong and Tokyo, but again, those ones are probably going to be one-shot deals. If I don't get it in the one trip, then it's probably not going to be in the book.
Have you actually visited? On that note, have you actually visited any of those parks?
I have not visited any of the parks outside the country yet.
Okay.
I know I know my wife would like to go to Paris. We've heard the pluses and minuses of the park, but we both would like to do that, and we'd like to get our daughter over to Europe and see that before she graduates high school.
Is your wife a Disney fan as well, or is she just coming over to see Paris and you'll have to drag her to a Disney park?
No. She's not quite as crazy as me, but let me put it to you this way: we went to Walt Disney World for our honeymoon, so if that tells you she's actually a fan too. There is a little bit of tolerance putting up with all of my nonsense, but she loves going to Disneyland also.
I know the feeling. I dragged my wife to Disney World for our honeymoon as well.
Oh, guys, you're saying it wrong.
Suggested.
Right. Is it alphabet time?
Well, actually, before we go alphabet time,
yeah,
me and Paul, and it's only because we said that we were going to do it that I think it'd be rude for us not to do it, because it's not like us to let any of our listener down. But we did say on the last show that Paul had seen Ant-Man.
Oh, yes.
I was going to go and see Inside Out. I don't know if anyone else had seen Inside Out as well.
No, next week for us.
Super. So with that, I thought we should do just a little quick review discussion of those films.
Sounds good.
Go ahead.
Now, we do know, without even asking him, Paul's not seen either of these films.
That is indeed true.
There you go. Never one to let us down.
Not at all.
Appreciate that. Russell, have you seen...
I'm going to see Mission Impossible 5 tomorrow night.
Oh, it's not Disney. Although I am also looking forward to it. Russell, have you seen either Ant-Man or Inside Out?
I have seen Inside Out. I have not seen Ant-Man yet.
Okay. Well, you've been busy, so you've got a good excuse. With that, Paul, Mr. D,
yeah.
Ant-Man.
Okay. So I've seen many of the Marvel movies. I haven't seen the latest Avengers Assemble. And generally, I'm a fan. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, but enjoyed Thor, enjoyed the first Captain America, enjoyed Avengers Assemble. So, Ant-Man, the trailer looked pretty good. Thought it looked quite funny. Had reasonable expectations. Went to see it about 2 weeks ago now, and with my wife. And she's not the biggest superhero fan. But we both really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better Marvel movies that we've seen, which is odd because until we'd seen the trailers for the movie, we'd never heard of the character Ant-Man. Don't know how big Ant-Man was.
Well, he's the size of an ant.
Comic form. Yeah, I asked for that.
But I like the way you laughed as if you were just humouring him.
People generally do.
I walked straight into that one. So I don't know how big he was in comic form, but I just thought it was a good movie. I thought it was clever, good story, some good humour. I thought plenty of action, but not. One of the things I struggle with on some of the superhero movies is just like the action on action when they're knocking each other through buildings and it goes on and on and on and on. That just kind of bores me. But Ant-Man, I thought had a good balance of action, story, character. So yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought it was probably the best Marvel one I've seen since Iron Man 1, the original one, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet?
No. I know you rave about that, and it's on my DVD list, but no, I haven't seen it yet.
Because I think this. I mean, certainly from the look of it, and I think the way that they're starting to lean towards things a little bit more is they're going down that kind of route of how Guardians was, because it wasn't as kind of gung ho as the other superhero films had been up until that point. It was a lot more comical, probably less action, or certainly like a bigger space between sequences and things like that. And just felt like it gave that genre kind of shot in the arm that it needed. And like Ant-Man, people didn't know Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, obviously comic book fans knew Guardians of the Galaxy, but if you say to people, name 10 superheroes, they'll name Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Batman, Superman, all the kind of big names.
Yeah.
But Marvel got to a stage where they couldn't make a Spider-Man film because they don't have the rights. They can't make Fantastic Four because they don't have the rights. X-Men's owned by Fox as well. They had to think of like the kind of, well, what can we do? What can we use? What have we got the rights to? And that led to things like Guardians and Ant-Man. And Ant-Man actually was conceived when Iron Man 1 first came out. Mm-hmm. That's been going for that amount of time now. And actually the reason why I've not gone to see it, I think probably more than anything else, is not because it didn't look good, because it did, but because it was, for years, a project for Edgar Wright, who did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and films like that. Yeah. And he was on board the whole project right up until just over a year ago, I think, and left after creative differences, and a new team was brought in. It sounds like a lot of what he envisioned is still in the film, but I would have liked to have seen his version of it, and we'll never see that now. So although it looked good and everything like that, and the fact that I've got to be a lot more choosy now about the films I see because of the kids, I decided to wait for a home release for Ant-Man. But everyone I've seen it said it's great, and your review kind of backs it up, and it does sound right up my street. So I think I will enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah,
good.
And I look forward to seeing Guardians of the Galaxy. I've come around to that because originally the raccoon with the big gun was the thing that put me off. But having said that, now that I've seen a movie about Ant-Man, it's hard to be a bit sniffy about a raccoon with a big gun.
And a T-shirt with a raccoon tear.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that mashup, that's excellent.
I did buy that. You can't buy it now, so I can reveal it without everyone wearing the same T-shirt. But there was a Rocket Raccoon Rocketeer mashup T-shirt the other day on a T-shirt site. Who I plugged, but I can't remember which one it was. It was $10. It was the best $10 to spend that day. There's that. I'm sure you can find it. So Russell can help me out with this one, I suppose. I went to see Inside Out. It just came out in the UK just over a week ago now. So this is the second weekend in release, so we got it a little bit after our American cousins. But it's actually been the biggest Pixar opening for a film, in Disney in fact actually, since I think Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I saw the original concept. I kind of had my doubts. It was like, how are they going to do this, and how are they going to make it interesting? But then, I saw the previews, kind of piqued my interest, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought they did a really well job.
Well, I think the thing is, I mean, it's an interesting point. And if you look back through Pixar history, how many times have you seen a concept or heard about the next film and thought, how is that going to work? I mean, there was a film that was going to be about a house that was going to have a load of balloons attached to it, and it was going to go off and fly on an adventure. That does not sound like it's going to be a good film. There was a film about a robot stuck on a planet alone, and there was going to be no dialogue for a good 20 minutes of that film.
Yep.
That does not sound like an interesting film. But then they actually show you what they're thinking. And that brain trust, to pardon the pun, they have in Pixar is amazing. The ideas and the concepts they do. And I think what makes them different to a DreamWorks or a Fox animated film or Universal release is that they dare to do something that somebody else wouldn't think of doing. They don't play things safe. They don't play things safe very often. I mean, even Toy Story. You think about the first Toy Story. The concept itself. It could have been a terrible film. In the wrong hands, and if you actually believe the original script for that film, then it was going to suck terribly because the characters were going to be really unlikable. But, you know, they worked on it. They, you know, drove the concept through, changed things as they saw fit, and come up with a modern masterpiece. And that's quite, you know, usual to talk about Pixar films like that. I loved it. I thought it was a really good film. Got emotional a couple of times. I think probably more so now that I'm a father myself, and the fact that I'm a loser. I actually said at the time, because the air conditioning was broken in the screen that we were in, and I said that I was just sweating out my eyes. But I later admitted that I'd actually cried a little bit.
So, someone was cutting onions in the cinema.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Rather than cutting shapes, and yeah, I think it was a really well executed film. I'm not sure yet. Some people have said, you know, it's going to be nominated for, like, you know, Best Picture Oscar. It's their finest work. I'm not entirely convinced it is. I think it's extremely strong work, and another example of just how good Pixar are with original concepts. But you know, really, really enjoyed it. And
well, and like so many films that do well, it actually communicates on so many different levels. You know, you've got the level of kid and adult, and then you've got, you know, the emotional level, and you've got all these different angles that, you know, attract people. They just did a really good job of putting it all together for a complete package. And what you were talking about earlier with when things aren't going right, that's the thing with Pixar is, if it's not going right, they don't just try and push it through. I mean, they'll take the whole thing essentially and scrap it and start over, you know, because they want it done right. Well, they'll use it as a learning experience. Oh, well, we learned from that. Now let's do the real thing. Yeah,
they did that with Newt, didn't they? Well, I thought it was a Disney picture, but John Lasseter basically put the brakes on it, and that was about 40-50% complete. And they just scrapped the entire concept. Newt.
A film about the young girl found by Sigourney Weaver in Aliens.
Exactly, and that's why they had to turn themselves away from it, because they learned from Alien Encounter that it just wasn't going to work. It just wasn't going to be a good concept. But, you know, even going to that film, and, you know, slight spoiler alert, possibly, potentially, but, you know, the main kind of arc in that film is about the emotions of joy and sadness. On a kind of, you know, road trip of sorts, and I really hated sadness. It really got my nerves. The character of sadness got my nerves, and I thought, what have Pixar done? It felt like it was going to be a misstep, and then of course, you know, towards like the final act of the film, everything comes together, and you realise why you were supposed to feel that way about the character. And of course, it's toying with your emotions. It's like they're always, I don't know, 3-4 steps ahead of you. It's just another level. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, it comes with, well, even the singer Seal would give that his seal of approval. That's how good it is.
Excellent.
I'd say.
Sounds good. Look forward to seeing it on Friday.
Well, I went to see Selfless with Ryan Reynolds and Ben Kingsley. It's not a Disney movie, so don't bother.
Well, I mean, no, you can go and see films that aren't Disney. You're going to see Mission Impossible. That looks quite good, but Selfless looks...
Yeah, just don't bother.
Yeah.
Right, let's drop an E.
Yeah.
I don't know who wants to go first.
You can, because I reckon we're going to double up here, because there are a few E's to choose from.
Well, E's are good, of course. So they've been E's are good, but
on my picking, because I'm the boss, you can go first, Nick.
Well, I'm not actually going to go first.
Oh, you're handing...
It's a rebellion.
Are you handing over the honour? It's like It's like a bizarre golf game.
I am, but I'm actually handing over the honour to somebody who's not here tonight on the show.
Okay.
Before I do, Russell,
yes, sir.
Are you aware of this little game that we're playing at the moment?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's fine. You know, some people don't... Oh, well, I always want to sort it over to you, but we actually had a response back from Lewis Sutton, who on the last show asked us a question that we discussed in detail about dining plan. And he come back to us and thanked us for the advice, and actually has made his decision, and he's not going to go for the enhanced dining plan.
For which we apologise, Disney, but good call.
Yeah. He also asked us our opinion on Vegemite, but I'm a Marmite person. I've never tried Vegemite, so I can answer that. But he did say that his E for this week's show was Eurostar.
Okay.
And he said the reason why, in my opinion, this is a fantastic way to go from my favourite city in the world, London, to my favourite so far place, Disneyland Paris. You literally get off the train and you are straight into the magic. Also, you can drink on the train, so you can arrive slightly buzzed. So it even appealed to our good nature on the show as well.
Just good luck getting through the tunnel at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing Australia's probably not buzzing about the migrant crisis in Calais. But
I've started investigating my private pilot's license, so I can actually just fly straight down there and avoid any method of getting across the channel.
After this weekend, I'm not sure that's the greatest idea either. Unless you're, with the Bin Laden family.
I wasn't involved in that at all. I deny it completely.
Of course. But thank you very much for letting me go first. So that was for Lewis. But my E, slightly tenuous.
All right.
Captain EO.
Yeah, we're forgoing rank for the name.
Yeah. I'm sure at one stage he was just EO.
Yeah.
The attraction may be called Captain EO, but
At some point he was just Private EO.
Yeah.
Just like Private Benjamin. Did you know Captain EO was at one time the most expensive film ever made, based on the length of it?
Yeah, per minute.
Per minute, yeah.
Dollar per minute. Is that because it costs that much to get the various stars, because they thought that highly of themselves that they rated themselves? Or is it the fact that the special effects at the time? Well,
I think you've got to look at a couple of variables. First of all, Michael Jackson.
Yep.
I don't think Angelica Houston added that much to the price of the casting. Nor did a young Doug Benson, fellow podcaster and comedian, as a dancer. I don't think he added too much to it either. But you've got to look at Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah,
he was involved. He wouldn't have come cheap. George Lucas, of course, also would not have come cheap. The special effects, as you say, were at the time, pretty groundbreaking, and it was filmed in 3D, which again at that time, it wasn't like they could just pick up a 3D camera and go film it. It had to be filmed in a special way.
Yeah.
And what I think is even more amazing is the fact that it's still on in the world in a Disney park. Well, it soon will be, because it's returning to Epcot quite soon. It's going to be reopening, and I think it's only ever been shown outside of a Disney park once, and that was on MTV about 20 years ago.
Interesting.
It's been shown once on normal TV in 2D, and that's it. Otherwise, you had to go to Disney Park or a crappy YouTube feed to watch it.
Yeah. Cool. Tell you what, Russell, you can go next.
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I came up with one of my favorite places to shop, the Emporium, which both Magic Kingdom and Disneyland have.
True. Yeah. And I think there is an Emporium in pretty much every main street in every park there is where there's a main street.
There definitely is in Paris.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have some, at least the one in Disneyland, has some unseen artifacts in it, and it, if you're looking for a place to grab that last minute thing, they have the biggest hodgepodge of everything. So.
And do they also sell self-published books in there?
The only non-Disney book that I'm aware of was Steve Bartlett's Hidden Mickey books.
You haven't managed to shoehorn yours in yet?
Yeah, I'm not thinking that Disney's going to pick that up. They have a lot of good writers on their staff. I think they're doing pretty well without my work. They do have a few books, like if you go over to Off the Page, they have a few things that are done by either former cast members or people who are not related to Disney, but they've got a pretty good stable on themselves. Although I would love, obviously, to be featured even for a day at one of their stores.
Yeah, they do sell other books, though, don't they? I mean, they've got like Kingdom Keepers I've seen in there, and like Disney biographies.
Yes.
So hey, get in there.
They just need a bookshop on Main Street.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because I actually did take a picture of one of their book stands one time and spoofed my picture of my first book onto it. And, of course, I was real. I made sure people knew that wasn't real because otherwise people would be going, I went there and it wasn't there. But
must have sold out. It's that popular.
Yeah, that's right. But, it was fun to play around like it was there.
It reminds me of, I'm thinking of a slightly J.R. Hartley kind of campaign of trying to just ask people when they go to Disney Park, have you got unseen Disneyland?
Unseen Disneyland.
Yeah.
I just get other people to ask like that.
Until they services.
Yeah. We'll push it virally somehow.
Yeah.
There we go.
In the park for you. Yeah. Excellent. Mr. D.
I've gone for a character. I've gone for Esmeralda.
Oh, thank God for that.
Esmeralda. From the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Not to be seen too often around the park.
No.
Has she even made it into the princess stable yet?
I don't think so.
I know she's not, but...
Yeah. She's a gypsy, so I don't know if she's a gypsy princess, but... reason why I chose Esmeralda, because when we first went to Disney, there was actually a Hunchback of Notre Dame live action show
it was.
In the studios.
Yeah, whereabouts was it?
It was right up the top end, kind of where that new Frozen sing-along is, somewhere up there. There is, I forget what the theatre's called now. It's not the Galaxy Theatre, that's the one in Magic Kingdom, isn't it? But it was a great show, and a little bit of a soapbox, I guess. Sorry, Nick.
Nope.
But before the show, they had a juggler who would go around the audience, and it was pretty edgy for Disney because this guy would juggle like cleavers, axes, big knives, bowling balls. This guy was amazing. He was really good, and the soapbox really is just a lack of live, original performances in the parks. There used to be quite a few in each park, quite a few different live performers. Like before the Beauty and the Beast show, there was a little, like an a cappella group called $5 for $1, I think it was.
Yeah.
They were great as well. So, come on, Disney, bring back some of the original interactive human performances.
Get some entertainment for us.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel, Paul?
It makes me feel slightly mad.
What about? I take your point. I take your point, but what about those guys with the water and paintbrushes that draw pictures?
Yeah, they're excellent.
They're live.
What, cleaners?
No, the ones that draw the pictures.
Custodials.
Yeah, I mean there is still live entertainment, but there used to be a lot more, and it was good. It was the thing that made it special because the attractions are pretty much the same every time. They're great, but it's a similar experience. You go on Test Track, it's a similar experience, but the live action stuff, the people, you don't know what you're going to get. Every time's a little bit different. Right, so that's I'm done.
and in case you didn't notice the seamless link there, I'm about to give it away. My recording card ran out of memory.
Oh, trade secret.
Did it?
Look, we're nothing if not we're painfully honest around here.
Yeah.
We're painful.
Yeah.
Safety at times.
Wait, something happened?
Yeah.
Russell literally just went outside, get a breath of fresh air and come back in. And
so my Z is zebra domes.
I don't know. Is that everyone except me now? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Or did Russell go before? Yeah, Russell went before Paul, and then okay. It's only 5 minutes later, but I've had a drink. Okay, so that left with my E, which was gone.
I wonder what your E is going to be.
I wonder what my E is going to be. Like I said, and no one else heard because we weren't recording it at the time, but everyone else gets it repeated. My daughters wouldn't forgive me if I didn't go with Eeyore.
Eeyore? What?
Oh.
Eeyore?
You lot of shit.
Didn't see that coming. Marty, we must have got up to 77 miles an hour.
Eeyore,
future.
yeah. You're gits, and I hate you all.
To be fair, Paul, the first time I ever met you in person, I believe your daughter was dressed up as Eeyore.
Actually, yeah, you're right. At the at Mouse Meets, one of them was Eeyore, one of them was dressed as Tigger.
That's right.
That's right, yeah, I remember that.
And yeah, it's several years ago. Their costumes are far too small for them, and they still try and get into them occasionally, which is quite funny. The Eeyore cuddly toy she's got. We bought on our honeymoon, so it's older than her. She took a shining to it instead of any other cuddly toys, and has chewed its tail.
To be fair, Alice did the same thing with Dopey. Dopey was exactly the same thing. So what you didn't hear the first time, listeners, is that Paul went into more detail and basically said that you tried a few different toys, and Eeyore was the one that she got attracted to, and closed her tail and stuff. That's what happened with Alice and Dopey, where she's never had dummy or pacifier, but when she goes to bed with Dopey, sucking on his nose. Because the good thing about the cuddly toy of Dopey is he's got quite a big nose. And she's got 3 different Dopies. So we can make sure she's always got a clean one to sleep with.
We made the fatal error, obviously, of not planning for the future during the honeymoon and only buying the one. And even managing to find like a legacy Eeyore on eBay somewhere at a stupid amount of money has now been slightly better looked after than something that has been kidded for the last 8 years.
Going back to costumes, by the way, I saw the most amazing children's costume today in a Disney store. I'm guessing this is in the US as well, because we all have the same merchandise. But what do you normally buy for your girls if they're going on a Disney trip from a Disney store?
It's
princess dresses, right? Okay. What princess dress did I see today?
Pocahontas.
No.
Leia. Princess Leia.
Princess Leia.
Yes.
They have now done a Princess Leia Episode 4 white dress costume for young girls.
Marvellous.
It's about 30 quid. It even came with the wig.
Got the buns?
The buns.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I looked at it. I was so impressed, because you're so used to the Belles and Auroras and Cinderellas, and that's all great because that's Disney princesses. But you know, whether you like it or not, Princess Leia is now a Disney princess.
Indeed.
And to have that for kids, I just thought was beautiful.
Indeed.
Don't do it in adult sizes, do they?
Not in that particular. I think Ann Summers do a range, but
that's mainly the Return of the Jedi.
Yes. Yes. No, you're quite right. Not the Episode 4. I believe it's almost time.
It is.
So one thing we do need to do. We've talked about your book, Russell, and it sounds brilliant. But if people have listened, have gone to Main Street and asked for a copy of your book and found that they don't sell it in Main Street or at all on Disney property, where can they find your book?
So the 2 places, well, there's actually 3. Either one of my personal appearances, like I'll be at the D23 Expo in a couple weeks.
Good plug.
Booth C 2006. But for regular trying to get a hold of it, it is available on Amazon. This time we did it as a fulfillment by Amazon, so the stock is in their warehouse. They do fulfill the orders. They do all the work for us. But just so people don't get confused, when you sell it that way, it doesn't have the add to cart button. It has that where you see buying options, and it looks like it's another bookstore. If you see the bookstore Sud Books, that is me. That is my book being sold by me through Amazon. It comes from their warehouse, brand new books. So just don't get confused by that. And then, of course, they can go to my webpage, Sudbooks, SUDBOOKS.com, and there's a way to order it there. It does cost a little more than Amazon, but you can get it autographed that way too.
Russell, which one generates you the most money?
It's kind of a tie. If I actually haven't looked that specifically, I imagine probably buying it directly from me gives me probably $1 or $2 more.
I think we're
But
all
like I said, it costs the customer a little more too. So the most economical way is to actually buy it through Amazon.
So look, if you want to, and you're going to want to buy the book, that's obvious. But if you're going to want to buy the book, buy it directly. It makes this man a few dollars richer, which is always great. But he'll appreciate it if you just buy it from Amazon because it's easier. I think the important lesson here is just buy it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
Buy it.
And if they want to follow you, are you on Twitter?
I am on Twitter. I'm at SeenUnseenD. I'm on Facebook as Seen Unseen Disneyland. And a friend of mine convinced me to start playing around on Instagram, so you can find me there as Seen Unseen Disneyland also.
Next stop, Periscope, but not yet, people, so don't get too excited.
No one wants to watch me washing dishes and stuff, because I have actually toyed with the idea of maybe when I ride an attraction or something to do it, but I do follow a couple people, but I'm not on Periscope yet.
You can just watch our couple ones instead.
Not Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Russell. Okay.
Yeah, that's a dangerous ride.
You gotta focus on that one.
If you actually go to Instagram or Facebook, you can see a picture of me about an hour or two later being escorted back to ride the attraction again. Actually, it's officially a ride, so we can call that one a ride. But a friend of mine, Tommy Pix, actually made me go on the ride again. Because you got to get right back up on that horse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or that car.
Or that car.
Marvellous. Well, in that case, thank you for coming on again.
Thanks, Russell.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's been a blast.
And any time in the near future, or version 3 of the book?
Yeah.
Back on.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You don't need to write a book just to come on. You're always welcome. But obviously, anytime you do, give us a knock.
Yeah.
We'll let you
I
in.
will.
Brilliant. And we can be found.
We can be found.
Like you can.
We're over here.
Yeah, like you can.
I'm sure some people might do. Just not many. www.DisAfterDark.com is our website. And you can email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
And on Twitter at DisAfterDark. Facebook.com/DisAfterDark. We're also on MiceChat.com.
YouTube, DisAfterDark Podcast. Instagram, Periscope, sometimes with Nick. Yeah, there we go. On that note, I find the other button. But thank you very much, Craig. Hope you enjoy the show. Have a good listen. And we'll see you all in a fortnight's time.
Yeah, not any of the other people that might listen to this show, just the one person we know definitely will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lewis, we've heard evidence that Lewis listens.
Vicky listens.
But yeah.
That's probably about it, but thank you. And Russell listens, because he knew about this. So, Russell, thank you very much for joining us once again.
Indeed.
Thanks, Russell.
Indeed. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, dear listener. Stay in contact with us. Let us know how you're getting on. And if you ever want to come on the show, it's just easy to drop us a note and come on. We can always do with more guests, whether you just want to come on and talk rubbish with us.
Oh, great. Josh Gillespie's going to be in touch.
We know he listens occasionally as well. All right. Fantastic, gentlemen. Thank you very much. See you all very soon.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Dis After Dark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
I think the ironic thing is that we called this After Dark. By the time we record this show, it is after dark here in the UK. But it normally is bright sunshine still for our guests.
Oh, no. Now you're destroying the illusion.
Cave avism.
Have we maintained one?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Princess layout, but
I don't blame you. And we're nearly out, but I just wonder how many American listeners we have that actually have no clue where that closing music comes from.
I want to know which outfit Russell's actually looking at right now.
Yeah.
the Princess Leia costume.
Yeah, but which one?
Just on that note, on that bombshell.